I only realized something was wrong on the third night, when he looked at me before I actually saw his face. I shop late at night because of work. My schedule shifts around a lot. Sometimes I get home past 1, sometimes closer to 3. That supermarket is the only one open 24 hours along my route. So it became routine. Park, go in, grab food and drinks, pay, leave. Nothing unusual. The parking lot is always too bright. Cold white lights that flatten everything. Usually just a few cars. Sometimes none. The first night I saw him. He was standing in the middle of the parking lot. Not near the entrance. Not near any car. Just in the middle, like he stopped walking and forgot what he was doing. I slowed down a little, not out of fear, just confusion. He wasn't on his phone, wasn't smoking, wasn't moving, just standing there. I figured he was waiting for someone, or thinking. People do that sometimes. I drove past him, went inside, grabbed some instant food, a couple of drinks, paid, walked out. He was still there, same position. If he moved, I didn't see it. I got in my car, glanced at him one more time, and left. The second night, I almost didn't notice at first. I was tired, head heavy, just wanted to get home. But as soon as I pulled into the lot, my eyes went straight to the center. He was there again. Same spot, same posture. It took a second to register why that felt off. Same person, same place, same time. I didn't slow down this time, just parked. There had to be a normal explanation. There always is. Maybe he worked nights too. Maybe he took breaks outside. Maybe he just liked standing there. I got out of the car and walked toward the entrance. I didn't look at him again. Inside, everything was normal. Same cashier, same shelves, same quiet background music. I grabbed what I needed a little faster than usual. When I came back out, I already expected him to still be there. And he was. I paused just outside the automatic doors. Not long, just enough to confirm. No movement. I got in my car, started the engine, backed out slowly. Through the windshield, he was still in the middle of the lot, not looking at me. At least I thought he wasn't. I drove off. The third night, I arrived later than usual, close to 3. The lot was almost empty. The lights felt harsher, without anything to soften them. I already knew where to look. He was there, same exact spot. Something didn't feel right anymore. 3 nights. Same man, same position. My foot eased off the gas without me really deciding to. I tried to come up with explanations again. Routine, habit, coincidence. I parked, turned off the engine. My hand rested on the door handle. I didn't get out right away. I looked toward the center again. Still there. I stepped out, locked the car, walked toward the entrance. I didn't look at him, but I knew exactly where he was. Inside, I stayed longer than I needed to. Not because I had more to buy, just delaying going back out. I moved slower, picked things up, put them back, walked another aisle for no reason. The cashier said something. I answered without really hearing it. When I finally walked out, my breathing fell off. I didn't look right away. I took a few steps first. Then I turned my head slightly. He was still there, same position. But something was different. I couldn't tell what. I walked to my car, put the bags in the trunk, one by one, slower than necessary, like I was giving myself time. I closed the trunk, got into the driver's seat, hands on the wheel. I took a breath. Then I decided to turn the car slightly before leaving. Not because I had to. I just wanted to see his face. Just once. To make sure he was normal. I turned the wheel slowly. The car shifted. My headlights swept across the pavement. And before I was fully facing him, he had already turned toward me. He was already looking. Not like someone reacting to a sound. More like he had been waiting for it. Waiting for me to look. The headlights caught half his face. The rest stayed in shadow. But I could see his eyes. Open. Focused. No expression. No surprise. Just there. My hand stayed on the wheel. The car kept rolling slowly. I didn't stop, didn't speed up either. Like my body picked a middle ground while my mind caught up. We held eye contact for a second, maybe less. I looked away first, not because I was done, more because something in me decided not to continue. I straightened the wheel and drove out. In the rear view mirror, he was still standing there, facing my car, not following, not moving, just fixed. I turned onto the main road. The supermarket lights faded behind me. I could still see him in the mirror, same position, still facing. I kept driving. A few seconds later, something changed. He moved, not walking, not hesitating. He broke into a run, straight across the lot, toward a dark SUV parked near the edge where the light didn't fully reach. His movement was too direct. No hesitation, no looking around. Like he already knew where he was going. The car door opened. He got in. The interior light flashed briefly, then went dark. A second of nothing. Then the headlights came on. I didn't wait. My foot pressed down on the gas. Harder than usual. I turned out of the lot without looking back again. For a few seconds, I told myself it meant nothing. Maybe he was leaving. Maybe that was his car. Maybe he just noticed me because of the headlights. All reasonable. Too many reasonable explanations. I focused on the road. Empty. No other cars. Streetlights repeating in long intervals. My speed dropped slightly. My breathing steadied. My thoughts started organizing everything. 3 nights. Same man. Same position. Then suddenly leaving right after I saw his face and choosing the same direction as me. I checked the rearview mirror. At first, nothing. Just a road. Then a small point of light. Far behind. I didn't react. Could be anyone. This road isn't private. The light stayed there for a moment. Then it got bigger. Slowly. Steadily. Getting closer. My foot pressed the gas a little more. Not because I was sure. Because my body moved first. The light grew. The distance closed. I checked the side mirror. No turns. No alternate routes. Just a long straight road before a wide curve miles ahead. If it was him, I didn't finish that thought. My grip tightened on the wheel. I accelerated again. The engine grew louder. The light behind me stayed consistent. Not rushing. Not falling back. Just matching. I sped up again. The numbers climbed. Still no other cars. Just the 2 of us. I tried logic again. Maybe he's just driving fast. Maybe we're going the same way. Maybe this is coincidence. Maybe I stopped because something didn't fit. The distance never changed. No matter how much I accelerated. He didn't get closer, but he didn't fall behind either. Always the same gap. Like it was fixed. I eased off the gas slightly. Just a little. My car slowed. The light behind me didn't move. Same distance. No change. My foot pressed down again before I fully decided to. Harder this time. The engine roared. Streetlights started passing faster overhead. And for the first time, the light behind me grew. Just slightly. Enough to notice. I didn't look back for a few seconds. Just forward. At the empty road. At the lines on the asphalt. At my own breathing. Then I checked again. Now I could see the shape. Dark SUV. Same as the one in the parking lot. The headlights were too bright to see inside, but it stayed there, following, not overtaking, not falling back, just there. I don't know how long that went on. Time felt stretched. The road repeated. The lights repeated. The distance stayed the same, until I saw the curve ahead. A wide bend, the only one on that stretch. I knew it well. Too fast, and the car would lose grip. I had to slow down. No choice. My hands adjusted on the wheel. My foot eased off the gas. And for the first time, I didn't know what the car behind me would do. I slowed, entered the curve. Tires held. The headlights swung across the dark roadside. Trees. Shadows. Nothing else. I came out of the curve. Straight road again. I checked the mirror. Nothing. No lights. No car. Just empty road. Like it had never been there. I kept driving for a while before slowing down. Breathing still uneven. Hands still tight on the wheel. I checked again. Still nothing. Eventually, I made it home. Parked. Turned off the engine. Sat there for a moment. Then went inside. Locked the door. Everything felt normal again. Too normal. The next morning, I got a message from a coworker. Did you take the North Road last night? I replied yes. A few seconds later, there was a crash early this morning. SUV hit the barrier at the curve. Bad one. He sent a photo. Same road. Same curve. A dark SUV crushed against the side. Front completely destroyed. Another message came in. No brake marks. Looks like it didn't even try to slow down. I stared at the screen for a long time. That part stayed with me. No brake marks. Because I remembered the distance. The weight never changed. Not once. Since that night, I've stopped going to that supermarket at midnight. I didn't realize something was wrong that night when he followed me. It was when I remembered what he actually asked. Like usual, I went to a grocery store around 11 at night. It's not a big one, just the kind that stays open 24 hours. Too bright for the hour. Music so quiet sometimes feels like it cuts out completely. I went there for something simple. I ran out of food, needed something quick. Frozen meals, drinks, things that don't require thinking. It wasn't crowded. 2 cashiers, a couple in the snack aisle, and one guy who stood out immediately. He was near the freezer, holding his phone slightly raised, front camera, talking to himself quietly, like he didn't want to bother anyone but still needed to be heard. A streamer? I thought, nothing unusual. People do that now. I walked toward the freezer. We passed close enough that I caught a glimpse of his screen. A live interface. Twitch. Viewer count. 1. I didn't think much of it. I opened the freezer, grabbed what I needed, and when I closed the door, he shifted slightly. The camera turned toward me. Not sudden. More like he'd been waiting for me to step into frame. "Hey," he said to the camera. "We got someone here." I paused. Just reflex. Then he looked at me, not the camera anymore. Me, "You got any message for my viewers?" His tone was casual, almost polite. I glanced at the screen again. Still one viewer. I didn't understand why I was supposed to say anything. There was no context, no setup, no reason. "Sorry, dude," I said. "Nothing." I went back to what I was doing. That should have been it. But he didn't move. I could feel him still there without looking. The pause lasted too long for something that small. Then a soft sound. Tap. He ended the stream. I turned. He wasn't facing the phone anymore. He was looking straight at me. Eyes wide. Unblinking. Not angry the way people usually are. More like something that didn't get the response it expected. I shrugged. "What's wrong?" He didn't answer. He held the stare for one more second, then turned and walked away. No words. No reaction. Just gone. Creepy guy, I muttered, and I really did stop thinking about him after that. I paid, walked out, and got into my car. The parking lot was mostly empty. A few cars scattered under those yellowish lights that make everything look slightly off. I drove out without anything happening. The first few minutes were normal. Then I noticed a car behind me. A dark sedan. Not too close. Just there. I didn't think much at first. It's a quiet road. Same direction doesn't mean anything. At the first intersection, I moved to the right lane to let him pass. He moved right too. Maybe he was turning. Red light. We stopped. I went straight. He went straight. Still normal. At the next intersection, I took a left. Not my usual route. He followed. That's when something started to feel off. Not because he was following, but because it was too consistent. I sped up a little. He did too. I slowed down. So, did he? My hands were already gripping the wheel tighter before I consciously decided anything. Okay, coincidence, I told myself. I took a longer route, quieter roads. He stayed behind me. Same distance, not closer, not further, just there. My body moved before my thoughts finished forming. I took a sudden turn into a narrow street when a truck passed from the opposite direction, using the moment to break line of sight. I went deeper into the street, turned off my lights, stopped, engine still running. I waited. 1 minute, 2, nothing passed. No headlights, no sound, no sign of him. I stayed there until my breathing slowed down. Then I went home. I didn't call the police that night. It's hard to explain something like that without it sounding like coincidence. A car following you without proof doesn't go very far. The next night, I was more careful. Checked my mirrors more often. Intersections, lights, turns. No sedan. No consistent car behind me. Everything felt normal again. I got home without anything happening. For a moment, I thought maybe I just overreacted. That maybe I connected things that weren't actually connected. It was close to midnight. I still had work to finish. Something I couldn't delay. So I opened my laptop in the living room. My house sits right at a small intersection. Not busy, but cars pass occasionally. The lights were dim, just enough for the screen. About half an hour in, light swept across the wall. From the window, like a car passing by. I ignored it. A few seconds later, again. This time slower. I stopped typing. Waited. The light came again. Brighter. Lingering longer. Like a car moving very slowly or stopping. I looked toward the window. The blinds were closed. Who uses high beams in a neighborhood like this? I muttered. I stood up. My steps were slower than I realized. I moved closer. The light was stronger now, pressing the lines of the blinds into the room. Then it cut off, not like a car passing, more like it was turned off. I pulled the blinds slightly, just enough for one eye. The car was there, parked at the end of the intersection, facing my house. Lights off now, but I recognized the shape. The same dark sedan. I didn't step away right away. My body froze before my thoughts caught up. He can't know where I live. The sentence formed then stopped halfway because something smaller, more specific, started surfacing. I never told anyone where I live. I don't share my location. I barely post anything. I'm not someone you can just find. My hand pulled the blinds open a little wider before I decided to. The car didn't move. No one stepped out. It just stayed. Then something lit up inside the car. Not a light, a screen, a small rectangular glow. A phone, facing me. I don't remember when I let go of the blinds. I remember stepping back, slowly, like moving too fast would make something else move too. I didn't turn the lights off, didn't turn more on either. I just stood there, trying to assemble something that made sense. Okay, he saw me at the store. Maybe he followed me. Maybe this is just... None of it held. My phone was on the table. I picked it up. Without really knowing why, I opened Twitch. Maybe because it was the only connection I had. I searched randomly. Then, without thinking, I checked recommendations. There was one live stream. Simple title. Talking to Strangers. Viewer count. 1. I tapped it. It loaded. Then the screen opened. The camera inside a car. Dashboard. Steering wheel. Windshield. Dark. Barely lit by streetlights. I knew immediately. That was the car outside. The angle matched. The position matched. I didn't see him. No one was in frame. Just the interior. And a portion of the windshield. Facing my house. The chat was empty. No messages. Viewer count. 1. Me. Then audio came in. Soft breathing. Then his voice. Low. Like he was talking to himself. I'll ask again. A pause. You got any message for my viewers? My fingers tightened around the phone, before I realized it. This didn't make sense. He couldn't know I was watching. He couldn't. The chat moved. One message appeared. From a username that wasn't mine. He's inside. My breath stopped for a second. My eyes moved a corner. Viewer count, 2. Me and someone else. His voice came again. Closer to Mike. Answer matters. I didn't type anything. I didn't even know what I could type. Seconds passed. Nothing happened. Then, in the video, his headlights turned on again. Bright. Aimed directly at my house. At the same window I was standing behind. I didn't look at the window again. I didn't need to. The light was already inside. Stretching my shadow across the floor. His voice one last time. If there's nothing, a longer pause, I'll find myself. I reported it to the police the next morning. Not immediately. I waited until daylight. Until everything felt more explainable. I thought if I told it clearly, step by step, it would sound like something they could actually work with. I told them about the grocery store, the stream, the car following me, the car outside my house. They listened. They wrote things down. One of them asked about recordings. I told them about the stream, that it was live, that someone else was in the chat. They said they'd look into it. I went home with a strange feeling. Not relief, more like I'd done what I was supposed to. Day 1, no update. Day 2, nothing. I called. They said it was still being processed. Day 3, same answer. Eventually, I stopped expecting anything. Not because it was resolved, because nothing was happening at all. Like there was nothing for them to find. I opened Twitch one more time. In the afternoon, somewhere crowded. The channel was gone. I searched the title. Keywords. Categories. Nothing came up. Like it never existed. I scrolled longer than I should have. Longer than made sense for something I was trying not to think about. Still nothing. And somehow, that didn't make it feel over. Nights feel slightly different now. Not because I see anything. Not because the car came back. It's smaller than that. I still pause near the window, sometimes, not to look outside, just to make sure no light suddenly sweeps across the room. And every now and then, I open the app again, not to find that channel, just to check something simpler, that everything looks normal, that there isn't a stream with a title that feels too specific. And whenever the screen takes a second longer to load, my thumb just stays there, waiting before anything actually appears. I started noticing something was wrong when he knew exactly when my supervisor left. I worked the night shift at a small convenience store just outside town. It's open 24 hours, but after 11, it's usually just one person running everything. In my case, that's me. I took the shift because I needed the money. Classes during the day, work at night. I drive myself home every morning because the roads are empty and I don't trust public transport that late. Between 2 and 4 a.m., the place feels suspended. The lights are too bright. The refrigerators hum constantly, and time stretches a way that makes everything feel slower than it should. That's when I started noticing him. He came in almost every night. Not at exactly the same time, but close enough to feel like a pattern. A little after 2, the door would slide open. The soft chime would ring. He'd walk in, grab 1 or 2 things. Water, snacks, sometimes cigarettes. Pay, leave. At first, that was it. Around the 4th or 5th night, he started talking. Pretty quiet this late. I gave him the usual response. Yeah. Small smile. That was it. Next night, you always work nights? Yeah. Still normal. People make small talk at the register all the time. Nothing strange. Until he started showing up almost every night. I began recognizing his rhythm, the way he walked in, the way he stood at the counter, without rushing. Small things I shouldn't have remembered, but did. Then his questions changed. What time does your supervisor leave? Around 11. So it's just you here until morning? I paused for a second, just long enough to notice. Yeah. He nodded, didn't follow up, paid, left. That should have been enough to make me uncomfortable. But it wasn't. Not yet, because it could still be explained. Bored customer. Curious. Harmless. The next night, he didn't come. I caught myself glancing at the door more than once, like I was waiting. I didn't like that. He came back the night after. Same routine. Walked in, grabbed a drink, stopped at the counter. You went to the back earlier, right? My hand paused over scanner. I had stocking drinks. Maybe 2 minutes. Yeah. He nodded. I thought you were on break. I looked at the door. If he came in while I was in the back, I should have heard the chime. I didn't. Were you already inside? I asked, trying to sound casual. He didn't answer right away. Just looked at me for a moment, then said, no, paid, left. That night, I started paying attention to the door. Every sound, every movement. I didn't realize how much I relied on that chime until then. If it didn't ring, no one should be inside. The next 2 nights were normal. He came in, talked a little, nothing too strange. I told myself I was overthinking. Then he came earlier than usual. Around 1, there were still 2 other customers inside. He didn't come to the counter right away, just walked slowly through the aisles, looking, not picking anything up. I lost sight of him for a moment. A few minutes later, he was already standing in front of me, like he'd been there the whole time. I was sure he hadn't. He wasn't holding anything. That was new. What time do you close? He nodded, looked around the store, then back at me, still a while. Eventually, he grabbed a bottle of water. I scanned it. When I handed him his change, he didn't take it right away. He just looked at me, longer than usual, then said quietly, you'll be alone again later. That wasn't a question. The next morning, I told my supervisor, not everything, just enough to sound reasonable, that there was a customer who came in too often, asked too many questions, paid too much attention. He didn't seem alarmed. As long as he's not causing trouble, we can't really do anything, he said. He wasn't wrong. It wasn't a threat. Not yet. So I started writing things down. What time he came in, what he bought, what he asked, small details, just to make sure it wasn't all in my head. Then one night, he came in again, a little after 2, same as always, but this time, he walked straight to the counter. No items, just stood there. Then he reached into his pocket, took out a folded piece of paper, set it on the counter. For you? I didn't touch it right away. What is it? A drawing. His tone was flat, like it didn't matter. I hesitated, then picked it up anyway. Thanks, I said automatically. He nodded, didn't wait for me to open it, grabbed a drink, paid, left. The door closed. The chime rang. Silence again. I looked at the paper for a few seconds before opening it. Then I unfolded it, slowly. It was a drawing. Pencil, careful, detailed. A woman standing in front of a house, watering plants, slightly bent forward, one hand holding a hose, water spilling into a row of pots beside the door. It took me a few seconds. Then I realized it was me. Same clothes I wear at home, same sandals, same hair, same posture. Everything was right, too right. Then I noticed the angle. It wasn't from inside the yard, not close. It was from across the street, slightly to the right, the exact angle a car would have if it was parked along the curb, facing my house. My fingers went cold. I've never told anyone at work where I live. Not once. I looked closer. There was a faint shape in the drawing, barely there, but enough to recognize. A car, parked across the street, facing my house. I folded the paper, faster this time, put it in my pocket. After my shift, I didn't go home right away. I sat in my car in the parking lot, engine off, lights off, just watching the road, waiting for what? I didn't know. Nothing happened. When I finally drove home, the streets were empty, like always. I parked in front of my house, didn't get out right away. I looked across the street. Nothing. I stepped out, opened the gate, walked in, slowly, without meaning to. I looked at the spot where I usually water the plants, exactly like in the drawing. The next day, I brought the drawing to my supervisor. This time, I didn't hold anything back. He looked at it for a long time. "Is this your house?" he asked. I nodded. "You should report this." So I did. I went to the police that afternoon, showed them the drawing, explained everything, as clearly as I could. They took notes, asked questions. "Did he touch you? Threaten you? Enter your home?" "No." "This isn't enough for immediate action," one of them said. "But if he comes back, call us." That night, I still went to work. I didn't really have a choice. A little after 2, the door opened. The chime rang. He walked in. Same as always. Calm, unhurried, straight to the counter. "I reported you," I said before he could speak. He paused, not surprised, not angry, just paused. Then he gave a small smile. "I know." My chest tightened. "I saw you leave earlier." My hands gripped the counter, harder than I realized. He reached into his pocket again. This time, not paper. Something thicker. A photo. He placed it down, pushed it toward me. I didn't want to look, but I did. It was me, sitting in my car, in the police station parking lot. Shot from across the street. I didn't remember seeing any car there. Nothing that stood out. Nothing I noticed. He leaned in slightly, voice low, calm, close. "I told you." A small pause. "The angle from across the street is the best one." I didn't respond. Couldn't. "I won't come inside again after this," he added, like a decision already made. Then he turned, walked to the door. It opened. The chime rang. He left. The door closed. Silence. I stood there for a few seconds, or maybe longer. I'm not sure. Then my hand moved under the counter, pressed the panic button. Finally, the police came within minutes, searched the area, the parking lot, the street. Nothing. No car. No one. They took another statement, said they'd increase patrols, told me not to go home alone. Things that sounded right, but didn't change anything. I didn't go home that morning. My supervisor came in early to cover. I stayed in the back room, holding the drawing, and the photo, same angle, every time, across the street, always far enough to disappear, close enough to see everything. I took a few days off, stayed home, curtains closed, lights on, even during the day. I started noticing things I never used to, cars that slowed down, cars that stayed parked too long, reflections in windows, small movements. I moved the plants from the front of the house to the back. I parked my car in the garage, closed the door before getting out. Every time. The police followed up once. No updates, no sightings, no leads. My supervisor moved me to day shifts. I took it. The store feels different during the day. Louder, busier, safer, supposedly. But one thing didn't go away. Every time I park somewhere, I look across the street, automatically, without thinking. And almost every time, there's a car. Nothing special. Different make, different color, different model, but always in the same position, slightly angled, facing me. I never walk up to it, never check, never confront. I just go inside, lock the door, close the curtains. I still have the drawing, in a drawer. I never threw it away, because I need the reminder that this wasn't a feeling. It wasn't in my head. It happened. And maybe It's still happening. Sometimes I stand inside my house, lights off, looking through a small gap in the curtain, at the other side of the street, waiting. And the worst part isn't when I think I see something. It's when I don't. Because now I know that doesn't mean no one's there.